Hello, just waiting for everybody to get on. I'm expecting some people. Peace. The topic of, hi, Chris. The topic of discussion tonight is going to be my channeling with Malcolm X. So I'm just waiting for a few more people to get on that said that they didn't want to miss it. So I'm just going to give them a few more minutes. How are you guys doing tonight? Awesome. Grand evening, Barry. How are you? Hi, Tasha. Hi, Empress. Hope your evening is well. Peace. Awesome. Thank you. So again, the topic we're discussing tonight is Malcolm X. He seems to be the topic of everybody's discussion today. It must be his energy everywhere, because everybody's talking about Malcolm X today, and I'm like, okay. So how do I reconcile witchery with Islam? What's your definition of witchery? I'm just curious, Esau. What's your definition of witchery? Because you do know, I didn't meet him. This is all in the spirit. I'm a medium, and I'm able to channel people that have transitioned and gone to the other side. So I did have an opportunity to speak with and channel Malcolm X. So give me just 1 second. 1 second. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. What did I tell you I was doing? Hold on. I got to play mommy. Just a second, you guys. What did I tell you I was doing?
Goodbye.
Thank you. All right. I had to give him the mommy look. So, yeah, he has to learn not to do that. He has to learn not to interrupt when grown folks are doing grown folks things. My youngest has his own YouTube channel, and so I'm going to interrupt when he does his videos. So just so you can feel what it's like. What was I saying? So when you say witchery, we have to remember that Noble Drew, Professor Drew, which I also had the pleasure of channeling and speaking with directly. He was a mystic. You know, he learned from the mystery schools in ancient Egypt. So he was taught. So I understand more science to be, and Islam to be scientific, to be directly related to the cosmos. And that's all the craft is. We're using natural elements and energy of the cosmos to cause change. We're using our own intention that's inherently in our bodies we were born with. So when you say witchery, I'm just not quite sure how you're distinguishing witchery from Islam, because it's all science of the cosmos. So I'm well. Reading the comments real quick. Witchcraft, casting spells. You cast spells, don't you? You cast spells. You do. You cast spells every time you open your mouth. Every thought that you place on someone, even though you don't speak it out of your mouth, you're casting a spell. Yeah. Working with spirits, we all work with spirits. They're all around us. Your ancestors and spirit guides, you're born with your spirit guides. So spirits are all around us. Now, as far as demons, you have to give me your definition of what a demon is. Because if you're thinking a demon is what you see on TV and in movies, you're sadly mistaken. That's not what a demon is. A demon are ancient gods and goddesses that they didn't add into the Bible. Those are all the demons. So yes, I do include demons in my craft. One of the demons I include is the goddess Isis, Aset, Heru, Sekhmet. Just from many different cultures I pull these demons from. So that's the definition of demon. So I hope I answered your question. I hope I cleared some things up for you. So yes, I'm a mystic. I'm all of the above. When I was born, my mother named me Oracle. So it's in me. Several of my past lives, I have also been a mystic, a witch. I don't really think, to be honest with you, I don't really think there's one definition for me. I don't think there's any one thing that can sum me up, because I'm some of everything. But I use witch because most people are familiar. Most people are familiar with that term, and so they don't ask too many questions. So if I get into saying mystic and sage and all these other terms, one second. My son. He's going to get interrupted when he does his videos. He's trying to be quiet. What are you getting? What are you getting, baby?
Looking for my TV remote.
I guarantee you it's not in here, because your TV is not in here, so I'm not sure why your remote.
It's not in my room.
Okay, I digress. So, yeah, so I don't think there's any one thing, any one word that can really describe all that I do.
Where's your TV remote?
Third, I am on a live video. Do you mind?
But where's your TV?
It's downstairs. Go ask your father.
He's not downstairs.
Honey, I am in a live video on Facebook. Do you mind? I think you just want to be seen. Come say hi. Come say hi.
Goodbye.
Come say hi.
Goodbye.
Come say, that's what it is. You just want to be seen. Okay, so, let's see. I'm trying to answer everybody's question really quick. Makes sense. Awesome, Isa. I'm glad I could clear that up for you. That does not mean that there are not witches or healers that don't base their science on doing harm to people and calling lower dimensional beings, because that's a real thing, you know. But the real deal is say hi, third. Goodbye. The real deal is all of our ancient gods and goddesses were demonized. Whatever wasn't placed in the Bible and other right-hand path books were demonized. They were either collected and added and their names changed, or they were just completely demonized. All of our temples and relics were trashed, or either they're in the Vatican. So let's just be clear. Third, what are you doing, hon?
Looking for my TV remote.
You cannot, let me explain something to you real quick. I'm about to do a seance possibly, and you cannot be in here. So goodbye. All right. So, sorry, I'm trying to get my light back. So give me just a moment. Yes, demons, let me talk about one in particular that I do work with, and that's Azazel. Now, Azazel has been demonized in every movie you can find on TV or at the theater. But if you look at the name Azazel, it has the word, the God's name, El. Just like Raphael, just like Michael, Gabriel, they're all light beings. My experience working with Azazel is a very gentle, kind, and loving one. This being, Azazel, his energy. When I speak of beings, you can take it two different ways. You can take it as being an actual being, an entity, or you can take it as just being energy. Either one is fine. He doesn't get offended. So Azazel is really a light being, very, very loving. He's huge. He's very strong. He's very stern. He's not the type of energy that you call on just for anything. It does have to be something significant. But he's a very loving being. Okay. Let me just, while I'm on that, let me just clear up some things about Lucifer. A lot of you hear me say that I am Luciferic. And what that simply means is knowledge is my lifestyle. Just like Islam is a way of life, Luciferianism is a way of life. It has nothing to do with serpents or Satans, even though the serpent is a symbol. Actually, the serpent is a symbol for all of our ancient religions and spiritual systems. So, but Lucifer is actually the planet Venus, the son of dawn. And you can see Lucifer every morning, usually, if it's not cloudy. So let's just get rid of all of the spookism and let's deal with real things and real history and what actually happened to our gods and goddesses. All right, so let's see. They're not negative. When we speak about lower dimensional beings that we'll call demons in this case, they don't have a sense of right and wrong like we do because they haven't evolved to where we are right now. Because believe it or not, our being, what we are right now, we're evolving to something else. So these lower dimensional beings that we call demons just haven't evolved to the point where they know the difference. Remember Bible, okay? They haven't evolved to know the difference between right and wrong. Their eyes haven't been opened. So a lot of practitioners of the craft will call on these lower dimensional beings, okay, to get them to do things for them, you know, because these beings, these energies, they don't have the concept of right or wrong. They simply do. You have to have the concept of right or wrong when you call on these beings. So it's just a matter of what each practitioner does with these beings. Now, there are things called jinn. Okay? Fortunately, I haven't had any experience with jinn. I don't plan on having experience with jinn. Jinn are earth spirits, like well, let me take that back. Because I do work with fire, because fire is a spirit. Water, air, that's earth, that's spirit. So when we speak about jinn, we're talking about earth energy. And I'm going to just use, for example, the jinn fire spirit that gets in people and seems to drive people mad, and people start talking about an exorcism. These fire jinns, that's what they are. They're fire spirits, and they get into people, you know, and they can wreak havoc, you know, for that person's mental and also for their life. So is jinn, you don't play with jinn, because jinn is a very real thing. In native cultures, they call them something else. In African cultures, they call them something else. I believe in Islam, they call them jinn. So they are, some houses can house jinn. If they're older houses, they've been through fires, they've been through earthquakes, tornadoes, that could be jinn. You know, have you ever seen like a tornado can hit one house and miss the house next door? It has a consciousness. It's, if you ever sit and watch like a documentary on these tornado chasers, these tornadoes have a consciousness. It's like they know where they're going, what they're doing. When I was younger, here in Texas, San Antonio, there was a tornado that just directly went down the street like it was driving. It was so strange to see. These fires, if you really look at fire that get out of control, are they really out of control? You got to look at these earth energies. So yeah, let's see. Spirits are never negative unless provoked. That's very real. They're not usually negative. If they feel that you're approaching them with an ulterior motive, let's see, or to, you know, to call on them, but you're not giving an exchange of energy, especially with our African ancestors, gods. If you don't leave some energy for them in the form of food or whatever they desire, and you've promised them that, you can you can pay for it. They will make you pay for it. So we should never break promises to anything, not even to ourselves. So it's only good practice to keep your promises when you're working with other beings, even angels, you know. So let's see. I'm just reading. Demons are your shadows. Now, that's interesting because the way I see it is your demons and the ones that need to be exorcised are the ones from, let's just say you had a traumatic childhood, you know, or you've been through some type of abuse, or you've been injured in some way, maybe a car accident, or, you know, whatever. You can get holes in your aura. And those holes in the aura can cause entities to attach themselves to you. So those are the demons you need to exorcise. I do entity removal. I have done entity removals on myself because I did go through some childhood trauma. And so I had to get rid of them spirits. So, yeah, so the demons you need to exorcise are the ones that you carry with you from trauma. So let's see, what is it called when you're asleep and something is pulling you and you can't wake up? That depends. That can be several things. That can actually be, in my experience, alien abduction. That can be sleep paralysis. Most cases are not sleep paralysis. That's just an excuse for a doctor to write something for you to take. So what's the other thing? It can be lucid dreaming also, because when you lucid dreaming, sometimes you can feel your body loose or you can feel it stiff. But in my personal experience with that feeling of not being able to move, not being able to talk, I've actually seen alien beings, what we call alien beings, but they're just other type of people. I've seen them around me when they would put me in this trance. Let me explain to you, and I know this is all off topic. We're going to get to the topic of Malcolm X, but how they do this when we're speaking about so-called alien beings, you know, when they abduct people. I have never been, I'll get to that later, but what they do is they tap into your hypothalamus, which is located in the psychic center in the back of the neck. Okay, it's your fatty part. I got a fatty part, but it's your fatty part in the back of the neck. So what they do is they wait until you catch their gaze, you know, or they'll go directly to your third eye, depending on how skilled they are. So they will go to your third eye or catch your gaze. And once they do that, they put you in this sort of hypnotic trance. And then once they're able to do that, they tap into your hypothalamus located at the back of the neck. And that's what causes the paralysis. So that's why doctors mistakenly say this is sleep paralysis, because they both operate from the same center, and these beings understand that if they tap into your psychic center back there, it's going to put you in a sleep paralysis. So the sleep paralysis is a cause of being manipulated by something. So let's just be clear on that. Azazel in the movie Fallen, good movie. Sounds like Isaiah, yeah. Inbox you? Inbox? Okay. Um, let's see. I'm just trying to answer everybody really quick. Yeah, his name, Lucifer's name in Latin means light bringer. It's actually, Lucifer is actually another name for phosphorus. Okay. Now, phosphorus is mainly the main thing that they found. I don't know how they found, but it's supposed to be the main component of the planet Venus, phosphorus. Now, what people don't know is back in the old days, the old days, okay, when Saturn was our sun and not our current sun. Saturn used to be our sun. So that's why we have the concept of the black sun. That was Saturn. But people, human beings, used to glow. We used to glow. We used to have a light. The light would shine from us because every cell in your body contains phosphorus. And phosphorus is light. So we used to glow. We lost our light. I'm one of those people that are trying to get people to brighten their light again. It's really interesting to get into. Yeah, they do have free will. Angels are kind of limited. They can't really interfere unless you ask them. They can't get involved in like religious debates and things like that. They can't get involved in that kind of stuff. They have laws. So anywhere you go in the universe, you're going to have a law. So what are ghosts? Okay, that's a good question. Good question. And what is the difference between jinns? I think I kind of explained that, you know, as far as the weather and what it does, you know, the fire spirits, the wind spirits, the earth spirits. All of this is part of Native American spirituality as well. So jinn, I feel, are very real. I have not experienced them. I don't know anyone that has experienced them. I have watched documentaries on jinn, and I don't think I want to experience them in that way. When I do rituals and spells and stuff like that, I do call on the elements. Now, when I do that, I do have to be careful to release them, because if I don't release them, my house will flood, the toilets and sinks and everything will start flooding, my electricity will start acting crazy. Like I do have to release them because they are energy. Okay, so now ghost, let me ask you a question. When you transition, would you like to be called a ghost? Our ancestors and loved ones that transitioned are not ghosts. They're not ghosts. They're spirit beings just like we are. They're light beings just like we are. There's no difference between them and us. The only distinguishment is that we're still in a tent and they're not. They're still here, but you just can't see them. Some of you can't see them, but they're still here. Because they're energy, and energy doesn't go anywhere. Our ancestors are earth energies. Their energy stays here on earth. Now, unless it's time for them and they've learned all the lessons they needed to learn, they will cross over. Actually, I help some go to the central sun, what I call the central sun, because that's how I see it. So, but for the most part, our ancestors, our spirit guides, they're in this room right now. I have about 1,000 spirit guides and ancestors around me right now. So energy doesn't go anywhere. So just know that. Thank you. That's why I don't like to dream. Watch my video again about dreams. I know, Alessica, you struggle with remembering your dreams. We're not from this world. We're from the mind. Think about that. We're not from this world. The world is from our mind. The world exists only in our minds. My body only exists in my mind, because it's only the brain that tells the body, like, this is what you look like. But is that true? It's all smoke and mirrors, you know. So And it's a good thing you mentioned that, because if you check out my video from yesterday, was it yesterday and the day before, I spoke on this, about how we don't need a mouth to talk or ears to hear or eyes to see. They're beneficial. That's for sure. But really, you can talk with your mouth closed. If you just take a moment right now and close your mouth and say your name, you're speaking. So you having a mouth to talk is a lie. You don't need a mouth to talk. You can hear without ears because you have inner hearing. You can, when you become telepathic, if you ever listen to any of my videos about telepathy, we'll get into that. You can hear inside the mind. You can see if you get into being clear, being intuitive and opening your third eye. You can see without the eyes. And they have experimented with this with people that are blind. They can see without eyes. So yeah, so everything is in the mind. What they doing when you sleep? Who are we talking about? What do you think of Kemet religion? I am a Wiccan, okay? My main point of practice is Kemet. I'm a Kemetic Wiccan, what we call Temerian Wiccan. So I'm a Kemetic witch. So I use our ancestors' nedgers, deities, and let me tell you, our ancestors put a lot of energy into these beings, because when I work with them, they are powerful. They are powerful. Remember, all is energy, and thought is energy. So when our ancestors placed thoughts into the relics, the statues, that's energy they placed into those things. So when we use them today, we can tap into that same energy they placed into it. It's amazing. You're beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Witchcraft. Well, you don't have to say it like that. You make it sound bad. Think about the word craft. I just really, most of the time I use the word craft, because craft can be anything. Craft can be sewing. It can be cooking, and really when you're doing spells, that's all you're doing is cooking. That's all you're doing is cooking. You're adding elements to what we call a cauldron, which is another word for womb, because creation happens in the womb. So when witches use a cauldron and we're adding ingredients in there, mainly teas, so and herbs. So when we add ingredients in there, we're cooking. We're cooking up something. And then we add the fire, the elements of the candle. We add the element of water, So all we're doing. There are kitchen witches. Most of the craft is done with things that you can find in your kitchen. So it's not scary like the movies and TV make it seem. It can be. It can be when you tap into that real science of Africa. That's why I'm like, I don't think you people want to go to Africa, because Africa is very spiritual and they work with spirits a lot. And if you're scary, I don't know how you're going to survive in Africa if you're not familiar with your ancestors and spirits. So if you plan on moving to Africa, I suggest do some reading on what spirits are and how not to be afraid of them. So where the hell is this so-called information coming from? Which information? I mean, for me, to have awake people asking me where is the information come from, it sounds kind of crazy to me, because all of us should already be tapping into Akashic record. So if you're not tapping into Akashic record, I have to question if you're really awake, because that's where information comes from. You have chakras in your body, okay? Chakras are portals or energy centers, psychic centers. You have one chakra in particular. I teach 42 chakras, okay? I teach 42. You have more than 7 chakras. The fifth eye chakra is located sort of like at the top towards the back of the head. And this is known as the soft spot in children. And there's a reason for that. This is where all of your Akashic information and knowledge comes through from, is where that soft spot is. So that's where you should be tapping in and getting your information. And when you research, you should be tapping in and verifying the information with your ancestors, with the Akashic record. It has to match up. So for you to ask me, like, where's this information coming from? It could be coming from anywhere. I'm a channeler, so information comes to me. and sometimes I'm like, wow, how did I know that? I tap into my guides, my ancestors, Akashic record, whatever you want to call God. I tap into the energy of the trees. I get information that way, because trees hold a lot of information. They've been here longer than you have, some of them. So they've been here longer than our grandparents, some of them. So trees, when you touch a tree and you tap into the information, the DNA in the tree, you can get a lot of good stuff. That's why people like to sit under trees, because it feels good. It's very loving, and plus you're getting DNA information. So about the soft spot, the reason why babies have a soft spot is not just so their head will have room to grow, but because it has to be soft, because when they're born, they have to have a lot of information downloaded, like so that part is soft, so the information can easily come through. So I hope that answers your question. I can feel them around you, and they are trying to say something. Okay, Judy, I'll try to tune in a little while. I trust what you feel, because we know that spirits like to operate through phones and computers and stuff. So I'm sorry, you guys. I need to get a light. I'm actually using my computer for light, so you guys can see me. Yeah, they're trying to get my attention. Do you hear a name, Judy? Do you hear a name? Like we practice the exercise on hearing your spirit guides. Just tune in to yourself, to your head. Listen to the voices. Do you hear names? Or do you hear any questions that they're asking me? This is good practice. So if you can try to tune in, that would be great. All right, so let's see. The deaf, dumb, and blind. Google African connections to Druids. Yes, I am Irish. I have Irish blood. My grandfather was Irish. We're the Mackenzies of the Mackenzie clan of Ireland, and we are the knights and the druids of Ireland. Okay, so when we speak of druidry, we're talking about the Moors, because the Moors went into Ireland with the science, witchcraft, and they were the snakes that were ran out of Ireland by the Roman Catholic Church because of the craft we were practicing. So there's that. And then a lot of people don't know that Pharaoh Akhenaten and Nefertiti's oldest daughter was the first queen of Scotland and Ireland. Thus the red hair. She was known to have red hair. So even the people of Ireland today, most of them, they don't know their origin. They really don't. They're just like the Spanish, you know, or the Italian. Well, Italian not so much, but even like the Japanese people, the Chinese people, they're starting to become more aware of who their ancestors are, which, you know, is our ancestors. So, but the Irish people, they're still kind of in denial. So if you go over there to Ireland and talking about they have African ancestors, they might look at you like, yeah. You can't hear me? Can everybody hear me? We are humans, use only 10% of our brain, I believe, when we die. That's what the other 90% of our brain is kicking. Well, I can tell you from experience, experiencing death, from the seances I do, everything in the astral etheric realm where the spirits are quite vivid and much stronger. So I would say so. You have really more abilities on that side. However, it's a lot more difficult to manifest yourself. That's why spirits use electricity to move around, to physically manifest, because it takes a lot for them to do that. Okay, so you're planning a trip to Egypt. I like pictures. I like photos. Let's see. All right. So good. So that's pretty much all the questions. I think I got to everybody. So I do want to get started on my time with Malcolm X. Like I said, a lot of people are posting about Malcolm X today. So I just thought that was interesting, because yesterday I was kind of mentioning him and my time with him. If you've gone to my page, you can actually see, I think it was a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago or so, I did a post on Malcolm X after my channeling with him. And he said some interesting things to me. So I thought I'd take some time to share a little bit of what my conversation with him was like. The first thing is, I'm sorry, you guys, just a moment. Everybody's kind of inboxing me. My inbox gets so crazy. So let me close all this out so I can go directly to my post. All right, so my memory is a little fuzzy on this, so I'm actually kind of reading the post that I did also on Malcolm X, explaining some of the things that he told me and I channeled. Understand that when a spirit is channeled, doesn't necessarily mean what they say is gonna match what is said about them and the situation and how they died. What I get is the spirit's perception of what happened. So a lot of times if a person was like a big liar while they were on this side, they may still be a liar on that side. So you got to be careful with the information that you get. You have to have a spirit of discernment. But Malcolm X is, I can say, he's very straightforward. He don't back down for nobody. His word is his word. If he says yes, it's yes. If he says no, it's no. So there's no there's no room for playing here with Malcolm X. He's pretty serious. He does have a sense of humor, but it's sort of like an intelligent. You got to be kind of intelligent to catch his sense of humor. That's how he is. His energy is very, very strong. It's still very, very strong. Sometimes when I'm channeling a spirit, their energy will come in slow and draggy and heavy, and I'm like, oh, okay, this person may have been gone a while, but Malcolm X came right away. I mean, his energy is still very much alive. You know, I can tell you that. Let me see. Let me just read a little bit of what I said here. I did call him. What I did is I did call him to me, and I waited, you know, to get confirmation or response from him. What I do is I wait until the spirit enters me, and then I ask them questions to confirm who they are. So Malcolm truly did confirm who he was with me. What he mainly, let me just start off by saying this. Malcolm X, and I'm speaking to everybody because you got to know this. Malcolm X is very, very angry. He's very, very angry, but he knows how to control his emotions. But I know he's very angry. He's told me he's angry. The reason why he's angry is, for one, before he transitioned, before his life was taken, he told everybody that his life was in danger, and no one helped him. How can you tell everybody that your life is in danger and no one helps you? So he's very angry about that. He feels insulted about that. That he told him, you know how you tell children that are going through abuse that if you tell one person and they don't listen, you tell the next person. If they don't listen, you keep telling. Malcolm told everyone, and no one helped him. No one helped. They tried, they tried. But Malcolm kind of already knew. I feel that Malcolm kind of already knew that this was inevitable already. It was inevitable. So he knew. Let me tell you, Malcolm X is very intuitive. Very, very intuitive. When I first started talking to him, I went to introduce myself to him. I introduced myself to him as Meri Amin El Bay, and I went on to explain that I'm representing a community of people that are awake and admire his work and want to continue it. Okay, and so he came at me almost in a jokingly manner. Like, he kept cutting me off when I was trying to explain who I was and who the community is and about Facebook. I was trying to explain to him about Facebook, and he cut me off because it's like he already knew. It's like he knows what's going on right now. He knows what's going on with Facebook. He knows he's very much aware. So I didn't have to do too much explaining, or he's just one of those type of people, and this is what I do get from him. He's one of those type of people that just get to the point. We Texas people, we talk a lot. We have to have a lot of detail, and we give a lot of detail. Malcolm X is the type, well, just get to the point. I don't have a whole lot of time. You talking all this other stuff. Get to the point. So yeah. So that's my time with him. Also, let me just see. I don't want to leave anything out. I'm kind of reading. But he did laugh at me because I'm not used to people kind of cutting me off in conversation like that. And so I was startled that he would cut me off, and then he kind of, I could feel him laugh. So that's what made me realize he has a cool sense of humor. The first thing I asked Malcolm X as a Moor, you know me, I'm going to ask as a Moor, was how does he feel about the movement, the Moorish science movement, and how does he feel about Noble Drew Ali? What he told me was that he loves the movement. He's all for the movement. It's needed. It's necessary. But what he also told me was that he admires Noble Drew Ali. He has a lot of respect for Noble Drew Ali. There's just one thing that doesn't sit well with him about the Moorish movement. And what he told me was that he doesn't like the fact that Moors are classed white. He doesn't like that. And he doesn't like, and then I asked him, I said, okay, so you don't like the fact that we're classed white, so should we be classed black? And I mean, it was like a stern no, neither one. Malcolm feels that that's irrelevant. We should be the human race, not classed by colors. That's his stance on it. So I feel like a lot of people that knew Malcolm may have not really understood that about him, and they took offense to his humanitarian stance in accepting everyone as a human being. But that's the reason why. He just feels that people shouldn't be in classes in the first place. So that's kind of cool. He really looks at people as human beings. It's like he had a bigger picture than just Islam or just the Moorish science movement. Even though he respected it, he just saw the world bigger. And I guess that was due to his traveling. I did watch the movie. I haven't researched much about Malcolm X, really, none at all. What I do know about Malcolm X outside of my channeling is through the movie. And every Black History Month, you know, when they talk about Malcolm X and you see certain little snips of his life or whatever. But no, I haven't done any real serious research on his life and the possibilities and why he, you know. So all of this information that I'm giving you is stuff that I got from him in his own words, from his own perception. So let me see, did anybody ask anything else? You can feel Malcolm's energy. That's kind of cool. Yeah, Malcolm was more about truth than about movement. They called Malcolm, I believe I heard from somewhere that they called Malcolm Lucifer. They seriously labeled him as Lucifer because Malcolm was a light bringer. You know, he wasn't just about this movement or that movement. He was about bringing knowledge to people. Much like me, I'm an Aquarius, okay? So I don't just fit in one area, one section, one philosophy. And that's pretty much how Malcolm was, but he was a smart man. You know, he knew that certain movements would help free us. So Malcolm X is really cool in that light. So I think my son just walked in again. He's gonna get it back. So I'm doing some more reading on the things that I posted because I don't really want to leave anything out. So I already said that. Okay, so I asked, okay, so I'm going to get to the main thing that people want to know. And that's about Malcolm's last moments before his breath was actually gone out of his body. How did Malcolm die? Okay. What I experienced, Malcolm did not allow me to experience his death as some other spirits do. When I channel them, I actually experience their death as physical pain inside my body. And then I experience them going into the other side. Malcolm didn't allow me to feel that, and I'm grateful for that. But he did tell me what he saw. When I was actually sitting in bed while I was doing this channeling with Malcolm X, and I asked him, you know, if he would show me, you know, because he was trying to explain. He was trying his best to explain to me the details of what he saw, who he saw, and where he saw them, and I wasn't really picking it up. So he started showing me pictures and he actually entered my body and started moving my head, you know, to point me in different things in my room. So one of the things he did, he kept raising my head to the ceiling. And I thought that was odd because I didn't even, you know, I didn't put it together. But he kept raising my head to the ceiling every time I asked them, you know, well, who shot you? He kept making me look up. And then I realized that, oh, there were people up there. There were people up there. What he told me was that there were two. There were two white men, what we call white men, okay? Malcolm still talks in black and white, okay? So if I say black and white, Moors, don't get offended. Malcolm still talks in black and white, all right? So he showed me two in the ceiling that were Caucasian. And then he showed me three in the audience. Let me read what I wrote so I can be as a matter of fact. He says he saw two white looking at my ceiling, and one light-skinned and two dark-skinned men in the audience. So he's very, very angry because he feels that the main people he was trying to help and set free is the same people that killed him. So this is why I say, there was a post somebody did on how Malcolm would feel about racial marriages and stuff like that. That would make anybody even thinking. Because if you're thinking the Caucasian is the enemy, but your own kill you, that causes a great cognitive dissonance. So I admire Malcolm in that light, because it showed me that your own can turn on you. So this black and white thing and who's who is almost ridiculous. It's redundant, because our people kill themselves every day. They kill each other every day. It's more of us that's killing each other than them killing us. So there's a problem, family. There's a real problem. And Malcolm X, I feel, was killed because of that. So you guys take it with a grain of salt, but that's my heart is beating kind of fast right now. But that's my time with him. I did release him. He told me I can channel him whenever I like, but I did release the spirit. One more thing I'd like to mention is about the most important thing in his life, and that was his children. Malcolm is a very, according to my conversation with him and the vibes I picked up from him, he's a very protective father. He's very protective. And he hates the fact that I believe it's his oldest is pursuing certain things, pertaining to his death, which I now feel that he's saying that's understandable for her to do. But he never wanted her or the rest of his children to get involved in this, because he wants to protect them. He doesn't want anything to happen to them, and especially not the things that happened to him. So I was going to, I was talking to some people that know his daughter, and I was going to try to make contact with her, but Malcolm told me not to. So I didn't. So that's that. That's my time with Malcolm. If you guys have any questions, I think he's here, but I'm just kind of, because I feel so emotional right now, I think I'm kind of blocking it a little, because I'm not sure if I'm ready to channel live. So, but I do feel him. I feel it in my heart. So if you guys are picking him up, he's definitely here. But thank you. I try. So anyhow, if you guys don't have any other comments or questions about my time with Malcolm, I have spent time with Noble Drew Ali. I have spent time with some of the singers and Hollywood stars that have transpired, that have transitioned. So being a medium, it gets interesting. And especially when you can confirm the things that the spirit tells you. Because after I did the channeling with Malcolm, many people came up to me, not came up to me, but through Facebook, telling me that that's true. Malcolm was said to have been killed by 3 black men, and there were supposed to be government men in the ceiling. And I can confirm that based on what Malcolm told me. I would say that's absolutely true. And that's all I'll say about that, because if I say anything more, it may be incriminating. So it may cause conflict. And that's not what my intention is. That's not what I'm trying to do. So, all right. So you guys are awesome. I'm going to say good night for now. I'm going to go have some late dinner. So, everybody have a good night. I hope I did give away some good information for you to at least research or think about. If you have any real questions, just hit me up in my inbox. My inbox does get full. My inbox gets crazy. So I do struggle with getting back to everyone. I do eventually. It may be a day or so later, but I do eventually. So just be patient with me. If I don't get back with you and it's a real urgent question, something that you really want to know, just inbox me. Okay, I can see the messages that are, I think, are urgent. So thank you. Have a good night, Levna. Bye, everybody.